What's happening, Bumblebee, and welcome back. I'm your host, Taylor McWaters, and here are the top 10 scariest tombs we should never have opened. Now, keep these ajar. Starting our list off at number 10, Newgrange. Heading over to the beautiful Ireland, kicking off this list. Newgrange is this massive circular tomb. It's an ancient mound, really, protruding from the earth. It's quite hard to miss. Now, the tomb is roughly 5,200 years old, meaning that this passage tomb in the Boyne Valley is older than Stonehenge and older than the Great Pyramids of Giza. That's pretty incredible. Stone Age farmers built this mound somehow, and is 85 meters in diameter and 13 meters high. Again, quite massive, hard to miss. A tomb that takes up an acre of space. Must be nice. Now, the passage and main chamber just happen to align with the rising sun on the mornings around the winter solstice. And if that's not fancy enough for you, the tomb is surrounded in a ring of large curbstones. There's actually 97 curbstones that surround Newgrange in total, and some of these are engraved with megalithic art. There's probably one that says Todd was here. Most likely. Number 9, the Animal Tombs. This tomb was found, of course, as you guessed, in the Valley of the Kings, but the name of the tomb is a number. What in the Elon Musk is happening? Who names their tomb a number? What? KV52, that's the official name, and it was discovered in 1906 by Edward Ayrton. Tomb KV50, KV51, and of course this one, KV52, they all together form a group referred to as the Animal Tombs. Hidden underneath 6 feet of debris this entire time, the entrance to KV52 was finally found. So when we enter a tomb that had been untouched ideally for thousands of years, we could find anything, right? In fact, whatever they do find is a win. It helps complete this age-long puzzle of humans' history. So when officials opened KV52 and it was pretty much empty, yeah, that doesn't feel too nice. All this time, really? It's empty? There's no treasure? Are we sure? Empty except for 2 boxes, both black and undecorated, which is a little ominous. The larger of the 2 contained the remains of a monkey, and the smaller one was a canopic chest that had 4 compartments. Number 8, Luxor Tomb. We've been saying 2,500 years ago quite often when we refer to these tombs, and don't get me wrong, that's an awful long time. But in 2014, archaeologists discovered a 4,000-year-old tomb from the 11th dynasty. It was tucked away in Luxor, Egypt this whole time. We've missed it for so long. Spanish archaeologists found a tomb belonging to a leader from the 11th dynasty. Now, it's pretty obvious that this was somebody from the royal family or somebody who was a high-ranking official of some sorts, because Luxor was the capital city of ancient Egypt at the time, and given how this tomb looked when we found it, yeah, they were pretty important. Officials believed that the tomb could have been used as a mass grave due to the large amounts of human remains found inside. Now, it's important to note that this tomb had also been used during the 17th dynasty because tools and utensils from that time, which was way later on, was found in the same tomb. Yeah, we're gonna find a spork in that tomb in 5,000 years and be like, oh yes, more ancient tools. Number 7, ancient curse. When officials found the tomb of Ankh-Mahor, aka a pharaoh official from 4,000 years ago, they also happened to find a curse. Yeah, for real, this one was written on the wall, right there. That's how you know that you're screwed. Buried in Mastaba, an above-ground massive tomb held this warning. It reads, "Might do against this, my tomb, the same shall be done to your property." And it also warns of Ankh-Mahor's knowledge of secret spells and magic, and it threatens to fill impure intruders with a fear of seeing ghosts. So if you enter this tomb, you magic, you might see some ghosts, I don't know, I'd be out of there comedically fast. You would read that and then look down and my shoes would be left there, that's it. I would be gone, my shoes would be left. Like a cartoon. Number 6. Celtic Warrior Shield. Now this one was referred to as the most important British Celtic art object of the millennium, so yeah, not a bad title, I guess. That's pretty cool. An ancient Iron Age chariot burial was discovered in Yorkshire a few years ago, and our researchers were actually excavating a house development in Pocklington. They didn't mean to find this, but then all of a sudden they find a soldier's tomb, and they're like, all right, I guess that's lunch. Are we rich? I don't know. The soldier was laid on a chariot. It was beautiful, but he had a Celtic shield laid over top. Now this shield was also dated back to 175 BC. A lot of history, lots to unpack here in an accidental tomb finding. First of all, most Iron Age shields up until this point didn't have a scalloped edge, but for some reason this one here did. We thought metal shields were only used for ceremony, but this one's been used in combat. It's been repaired and then used again, it seems. There are clear sword marks around the shield, each that tell a story. Yeah, let's just go poke around a Celtic warrior's tomb. What could possibly go wrong? Sure. Number 5, the sitting man. Back in 2005, researchers found a Mayan tomb in Honduras dating to around 650 AD. And the body was not lying down, it was actually sitting upright in a chair. Yeah, again, I would run out of that tomb comedically fast. This man was an elite member of the Mayan Empire, it seemed. He had passed away around 650 AD, and his legs were crossed, and he was rocking jade jewelry. It was a beautiful setup. The tomb had also been positioned upright, like I said, and these types of tombs, they're quite rare to find. But the fact that this one also had somebody occupying it, still sitting up, still cross-legged with their jewelry, that's beautiful. It's double rare. Usually people come in and grave rob. This is lovely. Would you ever walk into a tomb? Sound off below. This is a terrifying job. We have home funerals today that are kind of similar to this. I saw a post recently on Reddit where a guy, instead of an open casket, he was just sitting on the couch with his clothes on, like dead, as if he was still alive. And that's an interesting way to do a funeral. I don't know. It's kind of like ancient Egyptian, kind of terrifying. I don't know how I feel about it. Number 4, Paris Catacombs. Of course we have to mention these ones, so haunting. Have you seen As Above, So Below? Yeah, I'm never visiting this place. These catacombs date back to the late 1700s and they're literally full of bones. So it's no surprise that some entrances and compartments have been blocked off, ideally, hopefully, forever. The catacombs' history is pretty twisted, it's pretty sick. When the city's cemeteries were filling up, and I mean that in a literal sense, officials began moving bodies all over the city, just trying to spread them out, just off the roads ideally, maybe, and hopefully to these abandoned mines. Eventually those started filling up and now we don't know what to do. But the catacombs did open in 1809, so, you know what? What a fun family excursion we have now. Let's go see the whole maze of bones. All these bodies that were occupying the land, they just stacked them up. Now it's a tourist attraction. I feel sick to my stomach. They designed the catacombs with the walls of skulls to ensure that visitors would meditate on the idea of death. Lovely, let's go home, I'm terrified. Number 3, Poland Double Tomb. All right, here we go, 2 in 1, time to get cozy. All around the world, there have been a handful of 2-person tombs discovered. Now, this is the only one that they found in Poland, so pretty impressive, have to mention it. Back in 2015, archaeologists discovered this 2,000-year-old necropolis that had been sitting there for centuries, just at peace. And then we came along with flashlights, and now we gotta open things up and lick rocks to see what year dates back to what and whose skull is whose, right? Whatever geologists do. Lo and behold, they were around 120 tombs in total. Yep, and now they're all awake. Awesome, here you go. Enjoy your resting, we're here now. Now you're a museum. They were used from the 1st century AD to the 3rd AD. Now among these 120 tombs were a 2 in 1, that stood out. Tombs that archaeologists referred to as princely. Pre-war's culture in Kujawi were in fact Celtic, so their burial process was also Celtic. Now it's a little odd to see a Stone Age Celtic necropolis in Poland, so yeah, it's like history just collapsed into one little ball, and then we found that ball and we're like, oh, what's in here? A lot of spiders, and let's get rich. Number 2, the Tomb of User. Back in March 2010, the Egyptian Supreme Council of Antiquities released this photo. It was a 6-foot-tall slab of pink granite and it was carved over 3,500 years ago. The door was found near a Karnak temple in Luxor, and it originally belonged to the chief minister of Queen Hatshepsut many moons ago. Now User was a high-ranking official for over 20 years, so in turn he got his own fancy tomb located on the west bank of the Nile. Egyptians associate the west with the land of the dead, so that's why they're all over here. The actual slab of granite though, this door, it was found originally far away from its home. It had been moved thousands of years later and somehow it ended up in an ancient Roman era building. Yeah, never thought I'd have to say this, people, but don't steal doors from the dead. That guy for sure got cursed. Okay. And finally, number 1, the Alexandria Black Tomb. Speaking of curses, this one's pretty heavy. We found a mysterious black granite tomb in Alexandria back in 2018. You probably remember this, right? And somebody thought it was a good idea to open it up. And it was exactly what we thought it was going to be. It was bones and sludge, and it smelled so bad everyone ran away. It was horrific. When archaeologists found this massive tomb, again, untouched for over 2,000 years, on one hand, sure, that's a great find. It's a fascinating discovery. Lovely, it's a feat in itself. But us humans, we're curious cats, right? We want to pop it open, see who or what is inside. What if it's Alexander the Great? What if it's treasure that they used to pay off everybody's student loans? Hey, who knows, right? Let's open it up. Egyptian news outlet El Watan reported that the tomb was lifted just a few centimeters before every official involved at the construction site fled the scene. Yeah, it smelt that bad. They had to run away. Mustafa Waziri, Secretary General of the Supreme Council of Antiquities, this man put his entire head in the tomb later on to show us that it is safe and not cursed. I mean, you can use your hand, you know what I mean? You can do this. You don't have to put your head in. You can just do the one hand thing. That works just as well. Maybe a foot, but straight to head dipping? Come on, Mr. Waziri. Watch The Mummy. Don't do this. Do you think this released a curse upon the world? Again, this was 2018, so I don't know. Who knows? Sound off in the comments down below all your thoughts and concerns. I've been Taylor McWaters. You've been you. Keep being you, and I'll see you next time on Bumblebee. Bye.